Sony doesn't allow Ukraine players to register PlayStation accounts without buying a PS4 or PS5, basically locking them out of Helldivers. Wait, what?
Sadly, if they will not change this, not all allowed countries are actually allowed if they don't own a PS4 or PS5. Ukraine, one of examples. This is what I got from local support. Thank you, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead, and Sony, for not better disclosing that the game will be locked from me if I don't own a console.
Bro, it literally says right here.
In response to your request, we would like to inform you that the registration of an account of the region of Ukraine is only possible through the console itself.
What the fuck, man? It's so crazy to me because like 10 years ago, this was the opposite. Xbox was the bad one and Sony was the good one. What the fuck happened? Now they're holding the game hostage and all you have to do is pay $500 for a PS5. I wonder how many other places this is the case for. Okay, I made a map that shows which countries. Okay, hey guys, nothing says Super Earth more than disallowing half of the Earth to play the game. That's crazy.
This happened a couple of hours ago. Since then, it actually got cataclysmically worse. Steam has just pushed an update which is now stopping people from buying the game in countries where it's not possible to create a PlayStation network.
What in the actual lizard gonads is going on? So Helldivers is a game that's pretty popular, and Helldivers 2 came out 2024. Looks like a pretty cool shoot 'em up game, and I've been meaning to play it because of all these edits I've seen on TikTok. It looks very fun, and my husband actually tried it at a time. For him personally, he says it's too repetitive, but for me, it reminds me of Halo, like multiplayer. I mean, I know the two games are kind of different, but watching people enjoy themselves and all the fast-paced action, I actually did want to try it, but now I don't even know. I have seen a lot of news surrounding this, and I'm so confused because wasn't this game doing well? And it's like every time something is doing well, or the community actually loves something, it's like these companies think to themselves, man, our customers that are paying us a lot of money look a little too happy that we're giving them service that they paid for. Kind of like a toxic relationship where the girl or the guy is really happy and then they're like, man, this is the perfect person for me. They always try to make me happy. Like, I have such a great partner. Everything is so perfect. It's so perfect that I feel so uncomfortable. How on earth can I fuck this up? Well, enter Sony, that apparently is going on some kind of emotional sabotage, or basically every aspect of their life sabotage. Business-wise, and every other way you can think of, because good grief, they're doing the censoring game. They're just pissing off their fan base as if someone is inside the company and is trying to rot it from the inside out. So this article says Helldivers 2 has been pulled from Steam in 170 countries without PSN access, while Valve ignores its own policy to issue refunds for players with over 100 hours. Wow. Continues by saying Steam only issues refunds for players with less than 2 hours of playtime in-game normally. And from what I was hearing, from May 6th, players of Helldivers, this means people who have already been playing the game, by the way, would now be mandated to connect their Steam account to their PlayStation account. And you have to do that. For some reason? Why? That's my question. Why is that necessary? Why connect the two? Why force people to do that? So I scroll down and it said, for a question, why is Helldivers requiring PSN account? According to Helldivers 2, developer Arrowhead Game Studios, linking to a PSN account was always going to be a requirement for Steam players. And the policy is there to ensure players are protected from griefing and other in-game abuses. Yeah, okay. And I guess this is what the notice looks like. So from months ago, from all of this happening, people were talking about it and speculating that it was probably because of crossplay. This other person said, well, I hope so, but it's still kind of weird because there are other games that have crossplay with PlayStation but don't require a PSN account to work. Exactly. The initial person replies by saying, granted, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, but basically almost all games with crossplay require some sort of account system from the game's publisher. EA's games requires an EA account, Epic's games require an Epic account, Call of Duty requires an Activision account, and so on. And then they stop. So of course, with all the recent uproar of this, more people are commenting on this post. And one person says, genuine question here, and please don't roast me, I have a PS5, so the fact that so many people are being forced to create a PSN is insane. Is this not possible without a PlayStation, I'm assuming? Someone replies by saying you can make a PSN account without a PlayStation device, but another person replies saying, in some countries, you do need a PlayStation device to do so, which I understand would make a lot of people quite uncomfortable and enraged, because now you have to go out and spend money on an expensive device that you don't even really play so you can make an account to play a game you already paid for and have been playing. The issue is, as we're seeing with a lot of people, is there are people who live in certain places, like in African countries, where they're not even allowed to make a PlayStation account, which of course now makes it unavailable to those people who are booted out of even playing the game that they already paid for. I would be so freaking livid. So the article goes on to saying, earlier this week, publisher Sony announced that all Helldivers 2 PC players would soon need to link their active PlayStation Network account or lose access to the game. A mandate that was once a simple option at launch and has since led to thousands of negative user reviews hitting the once widely popular shooter. Yeah, I could understand that, especially if you're in an area where you're not allowed to. Now, I don't know for certain why in those areas you're not allowed to. I'm just going off of what people who live in those areas are saying, so I could be wrong. But are they gonna get compensated? And even if they do get compensated, do you know how annoying that must be? Imagine that you spend money. Imagine that you've been waiting for a game that you actually want to enjoy, and you find a game that you absolutely love, only for it to then be completely taken away from you after you've already paid for it because a stupid studio is now deciding that you need to comply to something that wasn't even a present mandate at the beginning of the game's reception, as far as I know anyway. That's crazy. Wow. What has happened to gaming, man? Like, what in the world is... Honestly, this is one of the reasons why I don't dig multiplayer games. Like, I see the allure and they are fun. I enjoy that. But I also own like these old consoles. I've actually gone back and bought old consoles just so I can have games forever. And on those games, I mean, I can't do it now, but on those consoles, you could play like cross-play with people by like the split screen stuff. And it's kind of stupid because I think you could have a setup. I've never actually tried it, but you have a setup where someone can have a monitor and you have your monitor and you put like a sheet in the middle. And it's really cute if you're living in the same house or if your friends come over. Very nice. It's very fun. No one's taking your game away. What you pay for, you have forever. Games that I have paid for and I've collected over the years, I still have them. Nobody's taking those games from me, and I have bought the consoles to play those games, so they will be there forever. I have a collection of almost every Nintendo console. I haven't gotten the Wii because I heard that sucks, and I haven't gotten the GameCube. I don't remember why. I don't remember if I think Super Smash Bros. Was like the only thing on there that I wanted, but dude, there's something very nice about owning a console and a game, mind you, that doesn't require multiplayer. It's the thing I also like about single player games, and it's why I like hard copy. For example, Breath of the Wild on my Switch, I can, no matter what happens, take out that game much later. Like, I haven't played, I don't have to worry about, man, what if later they remove it off the freaking store? Like, I can still just pop the game in and play it 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later when I'm old and I'm like, dude, I remember this. I want to go back and play this. I can play it. And it's like really mind-boggling to me that we live in an age where you pay for something and it is taken from you. Like, I just don't get that concept. I don't understand that concept. I understand making payments on something and not finishing it and it being repoed because you lived outside of your means or shit happens and then you end up losing something that you couldn't afford. There's lots of people who do that. It happens. I've watched people lose their houses, their cars, and even their children. But to fully pay full price for a game and then to have it taken from... I'm sorry. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny to me. I shouldn't be laughing. My mind is completely fucked. I don't even know what to say. If this was me, I don't know what I would have done. Wow. Why does that girl look like Daenerys? Oh, it is. Is it Daenerys? They clearly model it after her. I'm sorry. I'm bad with that. Focus. So anyway, people were review bombing it, and in this next paragraph, it says, Helldivers 2 community manager just yesterday assured the people in countries without PSN coverage could continue playing the game and wouldn't be blocked. But now Helldivers 2 has been pulled from more than 170 territories lacking PSN coverage, according to listings from Steam database. While some global players won't be able to join the fight and buy the game, it's unclear if existing Helldivers 2 owners will be able to continue playing if they live in unsupported regions. Holy fart fuck. That's horrible. Can people sue the company for this? Because here's the thing that I don't understand, right? Like, okay, if this wasn't disclosed at the beginning when people bought the game, they're just shifting this policy midway after people have already bought the game. And if Sony implemented this whole PSN requirement after all these people already bought the game on PC, right? Then this definitely like represents this kind of sleazy limitation on the product that wasn't disclosed at the time they bought it. So basically, when they bought the game, everything was fine, and then whoopsie daisy, on second thought, even though you guys have owned this game for a very long time, we're gonna make it so that you can't. And if you're in a place where all of a sudden you cannot benefit from this policy change, even though you paid for the game full price, sucks to be you guys. It is what it is. We got your money, you dumb fools. So I understand why people would feel bait and switched because of this. This also feels very exploitative. Like, Sony, you're trying to get more people, I understand, but it just feels like now they're grabbing a whole bunch of money from people. They don't care about their customers anymore. They make a greedy move like this, thinking that, oh, they'll just be sad in the short term, but we'll get more people in the long run. Why would I want to even buy anything remotely published by Sony if I know that at some point later they can bait and switch me? You don't think this is going to hurt your credibility later on? It's the same reason I don't buy movies on YouTube or buy movies digitally anymore, because I've heard of people buying movies and building up a library, and then the platform shuts down or loses those titles or loses the license to those titles. And then they're like, yeah, those 3 movies that you purchased off of our platform that you paid full price for, we don't have them anymore, so you can't access them with the digital copy. They want everything to be digital, and they're saying, well, digital is the way of the world, but if you can't even fully own what you're paying for, then why would you continue to buy it? If it's only now available on the digital platforms, it's just going to encourage people to pirate more. It just is. And you can't really blame them at that point. So that's why I don't even do that. And that's why when it comes to multiplayer games like this, I'm very, very careful. Honestly, I didn't even foresee this happening. When I was thinking about buying Helldivers, I was honestly I was looking around because I'm like, okay, I do want some good games, but let me look what else is out there. I'm so glad that I didn't buy it, because even though it's still supported in my region, I would be so paranoid now to invest in something that could just die. As a matter of fact, with most multiplayer games, except for Pal World, I feel like you pay a lot of money for these games, and then either the game shuts down, which I've been burnt by that in the past, like Dragon's Dogma. I was very, very upset because I just found the game, and it's been around for a very long time. A month after I start playing it, it shuts down. And I'm like, bro, are you serious? This happened to me 4 times with online games. So I'm a little bit jaded when it comes to that, and I'm very cautious, eerily cautious about spending my money on multiplayer games, especially if the publishers or the studios are going to be treating like this. Now, from my understanding, I don't think it's fully the studio's fault. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. They're saying that, well, they're not happy with it either. It's Sony's thing, and I'm inclined to believe that based on Sony's recent track record. Sony also has this attitude of, hey, this happened, deal with it. That kind of attitude towards their customer base, which shows absolutely no care or consideration to the people who got them on top in the first place. And it's hilarious because the article is even saying the game has become one of Sony's all-time bestsellers thanks to the PC version, and it raises questions about why the game was available in those territories to begin with, especially if the PSN mandate was always planned. Exactly. As Sony said in its announcement note, ignoring its own policies, Steam stewards Valve have also reportedly been issuing refunds to several longtime Helldivers that have have logged into Super Earth space for more than 100 hours. Steam policy normally doesn't allow for refunds if a player exceeds 2 hours in game, but since the PSN requirement came months after launch, Valve rightly seems to be making an exception. Okay, at least. A Helldivers 2 developer recently reiterated that the PSN change came from Sony, not the talented team at Arrowhead Studios. Well, there you go. So issuing refunds is probably the most effective route at getting a message across, as opposed to shouting toxicity at devs. Sony also announced the mandate on a Friday and thus has yet to officially respond to the backlash that has escalated pretty wildly in just a few days. Good lord. I hate to be that person, but I don't know. It would feel like you're biting off your toes to eat them and shit them. Like, I don't know if Sony is doing this out of some kind of malice, because this would be the quickest way to kill the game. The game is doing really well. It's popular with people, and Sony's like, oh yeah, look at you, my child, doing well in my house and representing me wonderfully, where I can benefit from your success. I'm gonna stop that shit right now. Not in my house. So other articles are saying, oh, well, it's not a big deal until you reiterate the important factor that there are lots of countries that don't have access to PlayStation Network, which is still wild to me. Why? And so you get your money back, right? You're like, let's stick it to the man and get my money back. You still can't play the game. So the community that you formed with all your friends and people online, now you can't, you'll know that the people who are in those regions, discrimination much? So here is a map I found, because I was looking at which countries can't play it. Bro, almost all of Africa. What in the hell? Wow, the Caribbean? Huh. That's very strange. That's very, very strange. Oh god, this looks so bad, because almost all of Africa except for South Africa, wink wink, doesn't have access. The Caribbean doesn't have access. Interesting. So I was confused at first as to why all of this was, and as I was looking around, some of the things that came up was the policies, of course, in those countries, the internet infrastructure, and whether or not those countries have stable internet, and apparently that's not universally available across Africa, but it's still mostly rural there. Like some parts in America, but I don't see people not being able to I guess it's the majority of the country, and these are different countries and whatnot. And then you have the market. They probably figure, well, there's not enough people over there where we can get high returns. So much for inclusivity. And I get it, it's like too expensive. So they figure, oh, people are not going to buy it anyway. But I'm saying, like, all of Africa, bro, like, there are some countries in Africa that are doing pretty well. And I'm saying, if this is a matter of infrastructure, you mean to tell me that the entire Amazonian forest has more coverage? Really, you're getting profit from the Amazon forest? So if I fly out to the Amazon forest, I can create a PSN from there? In all seriousness, though. Wow. It's not really a good look when Sony is all about, oh, inclusivity. But yet, I know that's probably not what it is, but it just looks kind of suspect. Kazakhstan, Iraq, all those places. Really? Really? Greenland too? Damn. People have a right to be mad, but then we have to seriously start, rethinking our investments, because I can't really blame people. If a good game comes out, you wanted to support the developers, which is what people were doing. Now you do that, and it's like every time we have something nice, something comes in. But you know what? Money talks. And people talk loudest when it comes to boycotting stuff. So if that's the case and people really feel the way they do, I would be so petty. I would not buy another Sony thing again. Not until, and it's unfortunate because I used to like Sony a lot, but I don't know what's been going on as of late. I don't know if it's because they shut down their offices in Japan. I believe that they've shut down all their offices in Japan, which is weird to me. I don't know why. But with companies like that, now I'm very suspicious of them, especially when stuff like this happens. This is not the only thing. If this were the only thing, I'd be like, this is kind of sleazy, but hopefully they can fix it. But it's been issue after issue after issue with Sony. And then all the other things compiled with the Warhammer situation and what's going on with the movies and entertainment. It's just maddening. It's almost like, damn, AI can't come fast enough, because at that point when AI comes and people are able to just make their own games and share it with people, now we don't have to worry about these studios doing jack. We don't need anything from them, because now we can make all our own stuff. Why would we spend and waste our money? Freaking inflation is going up. People are struggling out here financially. And then your money just freaking disappears. The one piece of entertainment that you find that you like is just grabbed from you for no freaking reason, because the companies just want to get richer. At that point, please, AI, come. I don't care. I don't give a damn. At this point, let the common person be able to use AI to make some games, because I've played some of these AI games that are on the mobile, and I didn't even know they were AI. I recognized it because people in the reviews were saying, oh, these are AI made. I'm like, AI is making games now? Like, what the fuck? I can understand, because some of these games, they're way better than some of the shit that's been coming out. Way cheaper too. So, and the microtransactions, you know, say what you want about those, but the games are actually, some of those games are actually fire. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe this was an attempt for something that was intended to be a good thing, but clearly from Sony's behavior, they no longer care about their fans. It used to be a company of quality, and funny enough, well, I can't even say that about Nintendo. Nintendo's a little bit in a better standing because of what they're allowing. But like with the censorship issues with Sony, you don't really see that on Nintendo when they were the ones that used to do it. But Nintendo has their own problems as well with all of these game consultant stuff. I don't think the gaming consultant thing is responsible for this situation. Seems like something completely different. But I could understand with this whole rap sheet with these studios why everyone's getting upset. This is why I'm jaded when it comes to video games now. This is why I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be very careful what I spend my money on, bro. Like this, you can't, $60 is a lot of money. I don't think Helldivers is $60, but you feel it. Like imagine spending your money on a game, money that you didn't even really have just so you can enjoy this. You come home from work, you're feeling stressed out, you're barely making payments, you have school tuition that you have to pay back, or, you know, school loans. And then you have a family, or your mom's sick, or you have to pay for your health insurance, and food prices are going up, living expenses is going up, you have your mortgage, your car payment, your insurance, you have all these subscriptions to things. Like it's just piling. It's piling. People are not having children because they can barely take care of themselves. So the one little nook in life that they have with all these cookie cutter games, and they're like, damn, now I can actually enjoy something and let off a little steam. Now people are coming for that. You can understand why people are seeing it as such a big deal, while the elitists are like, why are you bitching? What's the big deal? It's just a game. Sometimes, for some of us, these little games, these little methods of escape are all we have. And imagine these people in these countries that probably are less well off than some of us in the US. This is all they have. And now they can't even have this. Anyway, let's see what happens. But I would speak with your money, man. The people seem to be doing that with review bombing and issuing their refunds. And I'm glad to see Steam standing on business. And Steam is like, we're not in this. We're giving your money back. It is what it is. Sony's the one that messed up. They did this. You can have your money back. You did over 2 hours. It does not matter. We completely understand. Because in the end, the one who's going to suffer for it the most is going to be the company itself. They need to start taking some inventory and going back to the drawing board, because clearly whoever's running the company is eating an entire wedding cake through his ass. I don't know what the hell is going on.